Hello and good evening. How are you all today? I hope you had a nice day. Hope you're all well. Just switch my scene and then we'll jump right into documentation. So I decided I need a place where my dogs live, and I thought it would be nice to I will. Cheers, SpaceX. How was your day? Okay, so yeah, I thought I'll just set up Solar, and I already set up GitHub pages. Wait, that's Hardliner 66. Breaking Bad right now. Are you watching it or you're doing it? Are you making crack in your basement? Okay, so basically that's the thing. Baking bread. Oh my! Oh wow. That's what you get from not drinking enough Red Bull in a day. Well, did you at least use crack? No. Sad. Has never baked it down. Okay, so crack pretzels. Nice. Okay, so basically that's I set up that thing, and here's where I'm stuck. Okay. So I probably just want to use a theme because I have no idea what else to do. And I already tried to get the After Dark running, but I just got an error. Theme is okay. I wouldn't even know how to do it otherwise. So I'm not a web dev. I have no idea. Huh, there's Rust in the theme. Okay, what's that? Fix typographic content. Okay. Also, I can basically rename them, right? I mean, I do like the After Dark the most, but if it's not running, I would also be down to just use something else completely. So I'm not fixed on Solar. I just want something that's somewhat easy to work with. But let's try that. Let's try that. Let's go to config. beam going. Right? Oh wait, I should probably link to the PolyBot repository. Let's ignore that for now. Let's see if we can rename that to docs. Okay, so where is my... Here it is. Is it already using the correct thing? It's already set to SAM. Let's restart. Okay. Steve projects. Okay. Make dear content. Let's reload. Okay. That's something. Okay. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. So can I now make directory content docs? And edit content docs test markdown. Just say test. And it crashed. Couldn't find front matter in... Oh. Like that. I had that open somewhere. I think it was title, test title, and description. This description. Run again. Okay, we can do equal sign. That's not an equal sign. Okay, run again. Unquoted string. We can quote our strings. Do the same thing. Okay. Go to docs. There's nothing found. Yeah, so that's the thing I'm struggling with. Do we need to tag them, maybe? Let's tag stuff. No. See, the thing is, I don't need anything fancy. I don't need... Probably don't need any templates or stuff like that. But I do want to get pages running. Okay, I think for now, maybe we'll delete the whole solar thing. Hey, Bamnus. Oh wait, I should pull... Maybe get rid of solar and just use Markdown. Because right now it's just gonna be documentation anyway. Just thought it would be cool if we could host that, but I think it's... That's exactly what I wanted to type. Let's get rid of the git ignore as well. So git status. Also remove the GitHub workflows. Don't need those. How is you? So get status, let's see. Remove solar. Amazing emote. That's pretty cute. Cute kitty. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Hardbot isn't running. I hope Hardbot isn't sad that he gets replaced with PolyBot. It's from a female streamer I follow for ages. Create one, okay. Plant features, that's fine. Let's move the whole section into the database section. Into a database file. Docs. Database MD. She has the good stuff then. Okay. It's basically that. Land features can stay here. I mean, we should probably go folder based, so docs, database, let's move docs database MD into docs database. But she can't compete with coding streams? Well, maybe if she did coding streams, then we could compete with her. We should invite her. Okay, that's here. Let's make a docs. Do we do an index MD? Is that something people do to name the main file index.md? Because I don't think readme would be the right name. Let's just name it index. Okay, we have basically how do links work again? Hey Fluffy. Data. No, wait. You typed them. That's database. Yes, database. Or we index MD as well. No, wait. First comes the name, then comes the link, right? Okay. Markdown links. Yeah, text then link. That's okay. Let's close all the Solar things. Let's uppercase that. Database index MD. We'll create that. Data docs database. Yeah, let's make that the index empty for now. Okay. It's no longer available, that's fine. In the README, we'll link to the docs now. Docs. Come on. Hardliner with video coding love, I see. What do you mean will be? I am. Okay, we can go to database. Oh, we can go to docs. From docs, we can go to database, and here we are. Well, okay, I thought love takes time. Not if it's love on first sight. Right? Okay, so I think we've chosen... I think I've threw you in. I think it's... We're gonna use Diesel for the database. And we'll build an API for that. I think that's what we decided. Or do we? We could instead just use a NoSQL database and piss some people off with that. No, we're gonna do Postgres. We are going to do Postgres. It's fine. No, no, don't bookmark. Postgres, please. Why? It's an experimentation project anyway, so I think we should use MongoDB. Instant -10 followers just for mentioning MongoDB. See, no database makes you more productive. Even says on their homepage. Why wouldn't I choose the MongoDB then? And it's used by Google and Sega. Who doesn't want to use a database which is used by Google and Sega? MongoDB is a perfectly fine trash can. Yeah, this is perfect for my code though. So I write shitty code, so there's nothing better than having a trash can as a database. Hey Yasmin. PostgreSQL. SQLite isn't cool enough. It's used by Activision. Oh, and eBay. That changes everything, right? Need to mention it was a troll. No. You got a point. You got a point. Okay, so download Cassandra. Is there Arch Linux? No. Okay. No, we'll use Postgres. No, don't worry. We will use a NoSQL database though. That's already decided. That's also non-negotiable. So we will use a second database, and even if I only store one stupid value in it, I do not care. So I'm pretty sure SQLite is flying in space and some satellites or even on the ISS. It's called in space, so SQLite is cool. That's true, yeah. No, that the main thing is if I decide to change the structure from having one server which accesses the database to having multiple servers, SQLite won't let me do that easily. So it allows access from multiple processes, but it's insanely hard to get that right. So we should use a server for that. Okay, so we have that. Okay, we should crosses over into Docker Compose direct. Damn, I lost my word there. Territory, that's what I wanted to say. Essential cookies only. What do you need to? Why make a pop-up? Go away, please. I consent to everything. Just leave me alone. Require this password. Well, okay, so I probably don't need anything, any of the things I want to do in this project, just for serving a bot. But the goal of the whole project is to use technologies. Okay, so I want to use Postgres. I want to use some kind of NoSQL database. I want to use multiple languages. I want to use microservices. So yes, it's not strictly needed to get the job done, but it's needed for the project because the whole premise of the project is to use many technologies and get stuff working together. So let's go back to the README. So the project is called PolyBot. And we will create a microservice architecture with a web interface for our users to use. Probably whitelisting at first, because I'm not sure it's going to be ready for public anytime soon. We will use at least one imperative, one functional language, one relational, and one NoSQL database, just so we have used it, just so we can experiment with it. Also to gather experience. So if for instance, let's say we use MongoDB, just for the sake of argument, and it works fine and we have no problems, then I have at least made an experience with it. If it crashes and burns and nothing works, then I've made another experience with it and I will factor that into future projects. We will also do our classic point system or plugin system. We will use SQLite, but on the client probably. So we will do client software which interacts with the web version of the bot. Yeah, so that's it for now with the planned features. So there's probably gonna be more in the future, and we'll define stuff as we go. But that's the basic premise. And no, I won't do COBOL and PHP and stuff. So the most polyglot Twitch bot is not gonna use everything, but just technologies I wanna use. But yeah, cool. Yeah, I also think it's a cool project. It's also really cool to play around with their interactions. And I think it's a cool project for providing people with a demo project while job hunting. So that was actually the base idea. So instead of having 10 projects, one in C++ and one in I don't know, Haskell, one in C#, to show off, you have just one project with everything in it. That was basically the joke, which started it all. And now we actually write a bot like that. Okay, we have the base structure for the documentation. Just need to change my stream info. We also probably need diagrams and stuff. Okay, let's create a new file. Docs, database, not index.md. Do we call it schema? Do we define one schema for everything? I mean, I think it would be enough for now, just to define what kind of data we need. gonna call it data for now. So we need users. We need points per channel. We need groups for the permissions. Now you'll see how bad I am with designing data structures. No. Let's see. User would be probably gonna. Do we need to store anything else? Do we even want to store the name? Or do we just want to hash the name and store identifiers for that? Do we want to store name or just an identifier? Because if you hash it, you can always use that instead. And you can always recalculate. Probably. Let's see, just putting it out there. Let's call it channel data. So group name and users. Will be points for now. Should be enough. Just trying to remember all the data normalization stuff I learned in my whole life and how to apply that properly. Hey Megafox, thanks for the tier 1. 3-month streak. Wow, that's almost a year. Do we store the users of the group in the groups, or do we store which groups the user? 1 hour streak is almost a year. I mean, on the grand scale, it's almost a year. Yeah. So basically, do we store the users in the groups? Do we store the groups in the users, or do we define a separate database just for relating those two? I think there should actually be a separate database, a separate table for An N connection would be an on table. Wait, so one user can be in many groups, and one group can contain many users. Yeah. Okay, end to end. Yeah. So we named that. What do we name that? Hardest thing in programming, naming stuff. Okay, another problem. If you're using Diesel, group users, group members is good. Group members, it's basically group name and username, right? Okay, so if we're using Diesel, shouldn't we design data inside of Rust and let Diesel handle everything else? You also prefer the second one? Yeah, it kind of sounds more... Group users is strange. It's like if people would use the group, but people don't use the group, they're part of the group. Group members is fine. Yeah, so, okay, so, depends on the ORM. For example, AF supports both database first and code first. But in most cases, I prefer code first. Is there... Okay, get started. Let's see. We start that. Oh, there is a CLI. Let's install that in the meantime. Oh. Let's not. Let's just install the Postgres. Can I do it like that, or does it come separated? Whatever. Just install Postgres and it's okay. Do this by setting a database URL environment variable. Okay, so cargo new. Was it correctly? I think you write the SQL migrations on your own and place it in a special directory called migrations, so no automatic migrations generation like in EF. Oh, that thing. Okay, but how does it map the things? So I basically can do it both ways, because the one isn't generated out of the other. But if I Do I make my life harder if I misdesign those? I mean, I probably do make my life harder, but is it a good idea? Where are my docs? Data. Am I making my life harder if I design the database like that, or do I just not care and structure my code accordingly? I would design the database first. Yeah, that's also what I've been taught, but I'm also not an ORM user. Normally I just write the SQL directly, and that's it. So let's call that data server. It's an ugly name. Let's call it data server, which will access the database and will provide an API for query. I flopped so many times up when I started with the app, but then I found an issue and the designer needed a rewrite. Yeah, we'll probably need 1 or 2 rewrites. Oh, wait. Wait. So there is stuff we can do. But okay, let's check the diesel tumble. Is that for the whole schema? I have a stupid question regarding microservices. None of the devs in my company could answer me. There are no stupid questions, and let me hear. Let's see. Maybe I can answer. I will leave to eat. Yeah, have fun. Get a good lunch. Not lunch, dinner. It's evening. Yes, Abamnos, ask away. Also, I'm gonna just config. Remove that for now. Okay, the exact output might vary slightly depending on the database, but it should be equivalent. Okay. Table macro creates a bunch of code based on the database schema to represent all of the tables and columns. We'll see how. Next example, anytime we run or revert a migration, this file will get automatically updated. What now? Okay, if I would design a microservice, would I care to decouple the persistence for possible replacement, or would I see the service itself as the decoupling which can be replaced? That depends. That basically depends. So, if I think if you want to store minor things, which are basically already coupled to the microservice you're writing, it's okay to use. It's okay to use a persistence strategy that's bound to your microservice. What that is depends on the service and how many requests you need to handle. if you want to access the persistence from many services, which you might want to do, then you should probably put it behind an API. Because basically running an Postgres server is already kind of decoupling. Just you need to talk. You need to talk Postgres. That's everything you need. But other than that, it's already kind of decoupled. Kind of. But yeah, if you want to access it from many services, I think it's probably best to get a server in front of that and let only that server access the database. So if you actually need to change the database, you can just do it in that one service, and all the other services won't be affected. I think that should be a good idea. It was the best answer I got so far. Got a long time to think about it, about all this stuff. I mean, the basic answer to everything in programming is it depends. So it's the same if using a database. If you're storing let's say 100 kilobytes of data at maximum, yeah, don't use Postgres for that. It's just overkill. If you're storing, I don't know, multiple terabytes or petabytes or something, maybe even Postgres is the wrong thing for you, and you need to choose another database solution. So it always depends basically on the context. Context is the most important thing, basically. If you do something small, you can still abstract the data, the persistence layer away, if you like. But in some cases, it's just not worth it. So I'm gonna bring a small example from our application. This is a desktop application, and we needed to store data collected during runtime. And the person who designed this decided, because object orientation and you need to abstract everything, that we need an interface, and we need something that implements that interface, which then will write to whatever. So we could we can quickly switch between SQLite or I don't know, XML files or whatever's needed. The problem is that we don't need to switch at runtime, so it's always the same service, and if the service changes, there's also no parallel, so one part of the software needs the old, one part of the software needs the new version. So if it gets changed, we can change it at once. So that's over engineering, basically, because you design something for a problem you don't have and made everything more complex. But if you want to be sure, even in bigger thing, so if there is a chance, a good chance, that's something that comes with expertise, that you would need something later on, then it might be a good idea to do a little bit of over-engineering just for that. I know there is the whole Yagni thing, you ain't gonna need it, but that's also highly contextual. So I know that's pretty much a non-answer. The increased complexity has left me struggle many times. Yeah, I mean, you should strive to go for the simplest thing possible, right? So everything that's automated, everything that you as a person don't have to do. Every bit of complexity that you can cut down is a source of is one less source of bugs, right? So you could probably do a highly dynamic thing that can do everything, but that would be so complex that it would be full of bugs probably. So go for the simplest thing, and you can still, for instance, if you do the persistence layer, if you structure it right, to get back to your example, if you structure your persistence layer correctly, it should be pretty easy to rip that out of the service and move it into another microservice if that's actually needed. So I cannot agree more with this twice. Yeah, that's why that's why I'm here giving out solid advice. That's my main the main thing I wanted to actually start streaming is because so many people just ignore all context and say, well, it needs to be the fastest software that's ever written and needs to be written in assembly because you need to have full control over everything. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Just doesn't. That's just not how anything works. Okay. So how do I set that up? Okay, view on GitHub is a good. Getting started, step 3. Let's check that out. Source schema RS. Wait. I think I'm still not understanding this properly. I also love the answers online which were like just use an ORM for 2 data types. Lol. Yeah, so the thing that I learned over the years is to basically never use an ORM. And that's basically speaking for non-Rust languages for now, because I haven't actually used Diesel, so I can't speak for it. It may be the ORM that solves all the problems. I don't know. We will find out because we're gonna use it. But in other languages, there are problems like bad code generation and stuff. And that's wrong too. What's wrong too? You need to be more specific on that. They never use an ORM thing? Oh, what do you mean, Phil? Sure, there are issues with ORMs, but I cope with SQL strings always is not maintainable. That is true, but that's why you just that's why you normally abstract over your SQL. So you don't have SQL. Any progress? Not really. We aren't here for the progress though, right? Yeah, so basically, you would, in a perfect scenario, you would have something that feels like it was an ORM. Macro-driven development, yeah. That feels like it would be generated by an ORM, but would be backed by manual SQL just for the performance stuff. Well, isn't Link basically just SQL with a different syntax? Kind of. I know hot takes. Patterns like data. Okay. I mean, most people I know who have way more experience with databases are basically all never use an ORM. Technically, Link has nothing to do with ORMs. Yeah, that's. I don't disagree with that. That one was spicy. Yeah, so I can only speak from my own experience, and that's one of the reasons I wanna check out Diesel, is to know if it's just stigma for against ORMs, or if there is something behind that claim. Because last time I used an ORM was, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I really don't know anymore. And back then, all ORMs had basically the same problem. Meaning, if you wanted to scale above a certain point, the chance of hitting a bottleneck because of bad ORM generated code would be pretty high. That was basically the main argument against ORMs, and that you should always write your SQL by hand. I sure wouldn't use an ORM if I had the choice and enough time to build a custom solution, but I feel like with Agile it would be a difficult sell. That depends. That depends. ORM is great if it's used correctly, and if you're using ORM, it does not mean that you're not allowed to write manual queries. Yeah, the problem is you can use an ORM correctly, and it will still generate code that's not optimal. So, like I said, that's also something that completely depends on context. If you're writing a small app that just needs some database, an ORM might always be fine. If you're on the other hand, for instance, Google scale, which no one is, I know, but if you're very big scale, an ORM might be always a no-go. So it kind of depends. Reminds me of Django ORM design, but then good documentation guides came to save the day, optimize queries. Yeah, you would need to rewrite your data. You couldn't write the data structures in a naive or idiomatic way, because then the ORM would generate bad queries for you and would query too much. But I think with Rust and the whole metaprogramming stuff that's going on, that might be something we can avoid, but I'm not sure. So, like I said, but the internet told me caring about Google scale is the most important thing. I think the internet told me to not care about Google scale. There are many blog posts who tell me to not care about Google scale. I think it's also to do, if my app doubles its traffic from 12, could reduce to 20. Sorry for laughing at the number. Yeah, you would definitely need Kubernetes, and be sure to deploy everything to AWS, so you can automatically scale. Whole AWS, wow. Also, if you read carefully, there's a Kubernetes in my README, so we will probably use that. 12 users is 12 servers, 24 users is 24 servers. Yeah, but the big ones, because you don't want your users waiting, right? You just auto scale the biggest server instances AWS has. Let's be real here, we've been making Google-sized to-dos. True. Serverless, wow. I mean, serverless would be an option, but only if we deploy our own serverless server. Because we can't trust anyone, obviously. That's the most high secure application you'll ever see. That just does the same that my bot does now, but in a distributed fashion. Then it's not serverless. Everything has a server. I really hate to break it to you, but even serverless has a server in the background. Serverless just means managed at scale. Yeah, but okay, so let's say I split my stream into 2 parts. The first half or 1 week I work on my management solution for serverless stuff, and the second part, the second week, I'll work on my bot, which gets hosted by said solution. Would that count as serverless? Serverless Lambda with C# is funny. The cold start time is relatively long because of the start of the server. That I mean, there are many languages like that, where the cold start is basically insane. I had a use case where serverless might make sense, but still I didn't see any big benefit when I needed to write specific code for Azure, and then when I want to switch I need to rewrite it. The biggest benefit probably is auto-scaling. So if you don't need auto-scaling, just don't bother. Been using serverless lambdas for work, when I'm absolutely sold on it. I'm not really. Yeah, if you need the possibility to scale from 1 instance to 100 instances in, let's say, an hour something, or half an hour, or minutes, or whatever your time frame might be, then yeah. Don't say that out loud, you want Azure to come knocking on your door for spreading false propaganda. Has any one of you worked with ASP.NET? So we deployed a bug reporting platform, third-party bug autoscaler, maybe max a few hundred requests per minute. I don't know the requirements, so yeah. ASP.NET Core. Yeah, ASP.NET Core is basically the cool version again, so that's kind of pork, to be honest. But no, the old ASP.NET. So we bought a third-party ticket management system, installed that, turned all the power saving options down. So basically the ASP.NET server should never sleep. But if you were the first person to access the server on a given day, you would need to wait for up to 15 minutes for the whole ASP.NET server to basically start everything. Because in the old server there was, let's call it a feature, that if you weren't receiving requests constantly, it would just say, okay, I'm gonna sleep anyway, even if you did configure it otherwise. That was really fun. So cold startup time 15 minutes. My colleague had fun with ASP.NET and logging in Windows containers. Unrelated, can I link a Twitter poll I have? Yeah, sure, do it. If it's safe for work, if it's safe for stream. Written my final exam in ASP.NET. Past part was that the code generator broke down mid-exam. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, that's the basic experience for ASP.NET, right? Is the Twitter poll for your own, for Beamstream? Let's see. What do you prioritize most when looking for another? Oh, that's easy. Give me harder questions. That's so easy. I'm not gonna answer it on stream. I don't want to influence anyone. So I don't think I've ever hit that issue, but probably because the app I was working on had a health check endpoint that was constantly getting hit. Yeah, we tried to do that, but if you weren't a web browser, so the naive approach of just using an HTTP GET request would work. Tell me what I answered. No. No, I just I chose technology. I mean, on the second thought, industry would also basically be very high up. So I don't want to be software developer for, let's say, some woodworking shop or stuff like that. Okay, so I don't want to be in... I want to be in the software sector or related, basically. And I want to work with cool technology. That's basically the main things. Salary is nice, but I do think that even if you earn enough money to have a good life, it's important to have a good balance. So for me, it's more important to earn enough and have a work I like. Salary is nice. have basically work where have work that I like, instead of the other way around, and have much money and don't like what I'm doing. Thanks for the reminder. That's something I've forgotten in my ASP.NET containers to enable. Should we do ASP.NET Core as well? Just so people will go mad. So use modern deployment. ASP.NET. Do something like that. I think that's too trolly. But maybe we'll do ASP.NET Core. The Premiere Java ASP.NET stream of it. Yeah. What were we actually working on? Diesel, right? So one option is missing their working climate. It's the biggest factor for me. A good thing to be German due to tax salary is not really a good point. Most of the money I won't get anyway. Yeah, that's true. Same in Austria, kind of. So basically, spend... It's not half. It is not half of my salary. But it gets pretty close. The thing with working climate is... you can only guess the real working climate. So you can have a company which seems nice from the outside, but isn't once you work there. So that's also something that's happening. C# is boring, everything just kind of works, the base library is kind of okay. EF Core as always sucks. I mean, I don't disagree with you. C# is kind of boring. But it's also... I think it's kind of okay to have work with C# as your main language. boring tech is good tech. Not that's kind of true. The thing is, I would consider Rust boring tech, almost. And other people would just say, oh, Rust is bleeding edge, don't use it. I'm using ABAP and it's boring, but it makes money. It's not boring, it's awful. It's just completely different. No one should be forced to use ABAP for anything. But I understand. If it makes you money and you can live with that. Also, if you're working with .NET, you can maybe convince management to write stuff in F# instead. Yeah, probably not. The thing is, you would need to have a whole team that was behind the idea. The biggest problem I heard when designing on programming languages is that managers, at least in the companies I know, managers love the phrase, we won't find any devs for that. As if the programming language would be the hardest thing to learn in the whole tech stack. That's something I completely disagree with. So if you... I think, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter if you hire a C++ dev or a Rust dev for that instance, because the amount of time they will spend learning the whole tech stack and the whole architecture will always be way greater than everything else. So if they're a solid developer in one language, they'll probably easily adapt to another. And F# is basically C# with a bit of functional programming strapped on. I think most of the features from C# are still available in F#, right? I might be wrong on that, but yeah, whatever. Okay, let's get Postgres running. Do we just Docker run? Or do we Docker compose? F# lags behind a bit. No, I mean basically the basic features. I know you can do classes in F# if you really want. I'm not quite sure if you can do inheritance in F#. That might be missing. That's the thing. I mean, not the newest features and so on. Just so if you're already using C#, could I convince you to use F# and basically just change language without changing the approach? That's what I mean. I'm not saying that's a good idea. Just saying it eases the tension when changing languages. I favor Docker Compose because it's repeatable without relying on my shell history. The thing is, I don't know Docker, okay? I'm new to Docker as a whole, so whatever. But I probably should use Docker. The thing is, I would need to learn Docker first. Docker Compose, created Docker Run. Yeah, if you already know what you're doing, that's probably true. Also, what's the difference between Docker Stack Deploy and Docker Compose? Deploy new stack or update an existing stack. And what does Docker Compose do? I feel that it's the case where I never use K8s, only Docker Swarm. Yeah, I have set up Kubernetes once, and I think I also deployed something on my old PC. Yeah, whatever works for you, mate. I mean, there are still there are still services running on COBOL, but whatever. Okay, wait. Let's just make a demo project, okay? Do we already have a diesel project? No. Cargo, new, diesel test. Okay. Cargo, add diesel features, Postgres. It's like the Queen of GB. What's the real so can't. Oh, Great Britain. Okay, I get it. Yeah, basically a vampire. Did I just call the queen a vampire? Whatever, mate. What's the thing I wanted to check out? Oh yeah, wait, shouldn't there be... Didn't I do something with Docker already? Was it in Rust? Find Docker? Substrate in Moonlang. Oh. So let's see. Cat Docker file, Docker compose. Do I need that copy thing? No. Is it -p for plain? Yeah. Diesel Docker file. Diesel test. I don't think we need the copy. Let's see. Docker compose. So we need the Postgres. Match Postgres. DB image Postgres. So has anyone already said something about difference between Docker Stack and Docker Compose? Because I'm still not sure. What cool is if Docker I use containers as the disposable dev environment, so I don't clutter my main system with libraries and stuff. I saw something like that, where they basically you can put a special file in your directory, and if you open the directory with VS Code, it will offer you to restart VS Code but connect to a Docker instance in the background. And then you just have everything installed for using it, which is kind of cool, but kind of doesn't work with NVIM. Docker Compose is the basic YAML definition engine stuff. Okay, so Docker Compose is basically the file format, right? Kind of. Or at least that's how I think it is. Docker stack is if you have a Docker swarm. Okay, I do not know. I probably don't. So Postgres X password is It's difficult to explain with a minimal text. Let's make look up difference Docker Compose and Docker stack. It's fine, I'm just gonna look it up off screen. So let's not do that. Wait, do we want the web interface? Probably, right? Do we have a really simple Rust web service? I don't want to do Rocket because it's async and Diesel isn't. Beamstream, you still here? What did you use for your backend? Or what I wait, isn't your code open source as well? Can't we just steal it? Borrow it? Full service. Let's see. So you're using Diesel, okay. And oh, so you're using Diesel inside of Rocket? Interesting. So there's a pool. Database. Wait. Okay. So you do need to define both. I still need to have to look that up. So let's see. Let me get a new user. Repository user insert. Repository user insert. Huh. Doesn't that block though? Is Beamstream already gone? I have a question. I need a summon command to summon summon Beamstream. Okay. So where was that? In source controllers users? Wait, no. Rocket doesn't use Tokyo in the background. Does Rocket use... What does Rocket use in the background? What does Rocket use for concurrency? Rocket works. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter for a demo application. But I still want to know what... if I just can combine it that way. Forward. It's web framework. Okay. Blah blah. Don't care about that. Overview. Let's see. Life cycle. Does anybody know what concurrency model Rocket uses? Is it async? Is it async? No, it can't be async IO. Is it just a thread pool? Am I missing something? Okay, whatever. We don't care. So let's go back. Go to PolyBot, backend, cargo, Tomo. Let's go to our own cargo, Tomo. PolyBot, backend, source main. Yeah, we don't need all of that. Okay, back to Diesel. What's the default username? e.env. Local compose was admin, localhost. Okay, whatever. Is it root? Postgres default. You don't need .env, go to guide and search for managed state. Also use master branch for async. Okay, wait. There's a diesel driver for Rocket you can set up. Okay. I don't know if I need to use async. Or if I want to use async for that matter. What? That .env is just from the other project I copied it from. So I'm not sure if I want to use it. So I know for this is not needed. There's a diesel driver for Rocket. Okay. Now I need to check why. Consider adding a main function. Oh. You definitely want async. If you use master, you can do this easily. Rocket contrib. Master of what? Master of Rocket or master of the other one? Okay, that makes more sense. There is no hello, there is no .env. Master branch of Rocket contrib. This is a better guide. The Rocket databases, master branch, Rocket contrib. Okay. Rocket includes built-in ORM agnostic support for databases. In particular, Rocket provides a procedural macro that allows you to easily connect your Rocket application to databases through connection pools. A database connection pool is a data structure. Okay, we know what a connection pool is. This implementation of connection pooling support is based on RTD2. It's RTD2. Oh, I know that. Okay. And exposes connections for request guards. Databases are individually configured through Rocket's regular configuration mechanism. A Rocket TOML file environment variables are procedurally. Okay. Connecting your Rocket application to a database using the library using 3 simple steps. Configure the databases in Rocket TOML, associate a request guard type and varying with each request. Use the request guard to retrieve and use connections on a handler. Okay. Oh boy. So basically also the 0.5 def, or do we need the oh, that should be master. Right? That should actually be master right now. So wrong window. And yeah, they haven't released a 0.5 def. Okay, got it. So that should be Postgres, probably. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped for Rocket 0.5. It also, I think 0.5 is also when they drop the nightly stuff. Let's actually see. Is there a link to the contrib project? State, retrieving state. Rocket contrib. Almost. Oh, come on. Database pool. Oh, so you name them. Okay. So no. Must currently using Rust stable, so no worries. Yeah. That's one of the main things that has kept me from using Rocket. But now that we're nearing 0.5 release. Wait. That's an environment variable as well. Can I set that in Docker Compose? Probably, right? So you should be able to do environment that. Get rid of that. Admin. I'm keeping close attention to it. Yeah, I think Rocket is gonna be the coolest web framework once it hits stable. Wait. There is a brace missing. Okay, so that's done. Let's just get everything. What do you mean you cannot resolve that? It's core complete, but just missing features, I believe. Yeah, I think everything that's needed for Rocket to move to stable from Rust itself is already inside of merged into Rust. Let's open that again. Code is very clean. Well, it's just an example right now, so. Or are you talking about Rocket? So database was Gonna take the same name as here. Oh, that's the rocket tunnel they talked about. Global database is MyDB, and then just the URL. Okay, so that's the name. That's the name I'm searching. Do you know that JS scripts in the background keep persistent even if you change the Twitch channel you're watching? I thought it was considered a new page. I know that sometimes you can go from a channel that has, I don't know, 3,000 viewers to thanks for the follow. Choose Leo Floresta. I hope I pronounced it somewhat correctly. Okay, that's not needed. Yeah, so you can basically go from one channel with a few thousand views to channel with 10 viewers, and you get still shown that the viewer count is at 3,000 or something like that. Diesel. No problem, your pronounce is great. It's a Brazilian name. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's the biggest problem with Twitch names is you never know for sure what's intended. So Rocket Contrib databases. Diesel PG connection. That's the thing I'm after. Diesel PG connection. Okay. Then we'll use that. Almost. Yeah, so welcome to the stream. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I try to explain everything as good as I can. Sometimes I do forget though, and please do remind me. So I want my connection. Lux db can. No, go away wiki. So is that everything I need to set up? Or is there something else I need to do for the connection? I mean, I still need to set up the whole schema files. Okay, so let's do a diesel setup. Oh, because it's not running. Probably need to expose the port, right? Don't I need to expose the port? Don't I need that port in my Docker compose? Or am I missing something? Am I misunderstanding something? Shouldn't there be something like that? Or is this just for if I want to use it outside of the Docker Compose? Can they internally communicate with what the ports construct? Probably can. Okay, so Docker Compose up? No? I hope. After that, could not find cargo toml in code. Oh no, oh, because the copy is missing. So I do need the copy stuff. Okay, that's gonna take a while. Oh, we hit 250 followers. Nice. So, Chuselio, you were the 250th follower. Sadly, you don't win anything, but at least you know it, and that's what counts. I hope that kind of gets cached correctly this time, because last time we spent most of our time waiting for the cache to get repopulated. Okay, compiling diesel, that's fine. Wait, isn't there a diesel diesel migration run? think we should have done that first and just run diesel inside Docker container. Okay. Now we're getting... Let's see. Okay, 89%, that's fine. Always kind of need to check if my disk runs full, because I had the problem a few times. So let's do that. Migrations up. Migrations down. Okay, RV, Docker file. Install basically take all of that. And we will do diesel migration run. Okay. It's probably completely wrong, but whatever. Docker compose. Oh, I'm in the wrong project. Diesel test goes up. Let's get rid of the wrong file. Let's get rid of the secrets feature, because it's actually not needed. Go to... What was the port? 8,000 or 5,000? Forwarding due to configuration errors. Okay, Docker compose. Oh, that's the thing I was searching for. And we need to do it again. No. Oh, of course we need to do it again. Okay, while that is building, I'm gonna take a short break. And hopefully until then it's done. So be right back. And I'm back. So let's see. Okay, that failed. Docker compose start order. Depends on, that's what I'm searching. Use tools to wait for it, Dockerize. You can control the order of service that depends on option compose. Always starts and stops containers in dependency order. Depends on links. Okay. However, startup compose does not wait until containers are ready. Okay, let's Docker compose. Let's get that going. Okay. Wait. Let's try that first. Build again. Oh. Because I just built it and not... Okay, can I... Docker compose images. Does kill do? Okay. Can I delete those somehow? Okay, Docker compose up. Let's do it like that. Let's see if that works. No. Why doesn't it do the thing I wanted to do? Okay, Docker compose. No, not Docker compose. Let's get rid of those for now. Let's see. So basically the whole Docker thing is something I still need to work more with and get a feel for it, basically. Because until now, I just deployed everything basically directly to my server. So the old school way of creating a new user with restricted rights, setting everything up, so on and so forth. Because for most of the thing I host on my server, I don't actually think I need more. But let's see. I think I might be able to adopt a Docker-driven lifestyle. Docker everything. Okay, at least the build ran through. So if we compose up now. Yeah, stop complaining. Localhost. What? No. Okay. Accepting connection, so that's running. Is that still going on? What? Default user Postgres. Okay, we can work with that. We can work with that. 5432. I know the issue, sorry, was if you're doing sport. No need to be... if you're doing sport, that's excused. I need the Docker Compose file. Yup. Basically. That's probably not gonna work, but whatever. Okay, let me... Yeah, I also need to set up all the migration run stuff. Okay. Yeah, 127 localhost is basically itself. That's true. The question is, how do I get the IP address of one container into the other one? Docker compose get IP. Because when we use the service name as a DNS name, but I can't tell you for compose. Yep, probably works the same way. Let's just try it. Just use DB. No. Decoker. Docker compose DNS name. Probably. Host name. Yeah, wait, so if I do, what was it, hostname? Hostname, database, whatever. And use database here. And run that now? I mean, it seems to be able to connect now. My PG database. Oh, that's probably a wrong name. How can I connect to Postgres? To Postgres. PSQL. Thank you. PSQL. Let's see. DB name, username. Is there a host somewhere? Okay, so host is 27.0.0.1. I know that works. Dash username is gonna be Postgres. Let's see. That was admin for the local one. Nice. Help. Isn't there something like tables? What? Okay. Postgres list tables. Yeah, go away. Can I scroll, please? Thanks. /L. Oops. Diesel demo. Okay, so it took basically the name of the project. No, wait. Where does diesel demo come from? Huh? Okay, whatever. So in main, anywhere else? Yeah, here it needs to change. Okay. Where does that come from? That's the thing I just added. Whatever. Let's rebuild. It'll probably invalidate my cache again. Yeah. Does the copy ignore stuff from the git ignore file? Docker copy git ignore. Does Docker care about that? Okay, git ignore is not mentioned, whatever. Still compiling. That's something I still need to figure out how to do properly, the whole caching thing. So the whole caching with Rust thing in particular. Because I do want it to rebuild when my source code changes, but not everything. Okay. Let's run that again. Admin. Wait. Okay, whatever. Seems to not have any problems right now. That means I can now use my need to get those in there somewhere. Was it 8,000? No. It was 5,000. Why is it resetting? Okay. Basically get that going. That's basically to get a connection going. But why? No. Use diesel variable. Okay. Why do I not get anything back? Both services are running and I cannot connect. Oh. It's probably running on the wrong port. Let's rebuild and Docker. Goes up. Yeah, whatever. Docker Rust cache target directory. To cache dependencies, then copy application. Holy sh. That seems unnecessarily complicated. I basically want to cache. Wait, let's open what? Let's open my Docker file. So I basically want to cache the build artifacts. So if I run cargo build release for a second time, it shouldn't download everything and build everything. It should just recompile my code for now. But apparently Docker cargo chef okay, let's see what I think I heard about that. Though. Cache dependency if your project speed up your Docker builds. Cargo Chef is not meant to be run locally. It's from use case to speed up Docker container builds by running before the actual source code is copied over. I've been meaning to use it, but now you can. Okay, so we're just trying it. Okay. Terminate with minimum subset of files. Prepare examines your project that builds a recipe that captures the set of information required to build your dependencies. Okay, nothing too mysterious going on. Wait, let's... We still can't connect. No, connection was a reset. That's a different error. Okay. Shut everything down. Good question. Docker itself just caches on the per step level, so the cargo command does multiple things. Docker can't decide what it should cache. Yeah, so basically Docker just rebuilds everything. Let's do cargo chef. Let's just try cargo chef. If there is a tool for it, why not? So we will also need to install cargo chef here. Cargo, was it dash? Yeah, it was dash. What? Using forestay. Okay. That's hard. That is a multi-stage build. Yeah. Can extend a copy from. Yeah, but I can put all of that into one Docker file, right? So okay, let's just get everything for now. Okay, so that means I can... Yes, but you then may need to say to Docker which stage you should build, like make file for reference. Oh, okay. I mean, let's try it. Let's just try it, okay? What's the worst thing that can happen, right? Also, what's the difference between command and entry point? CMD entry point. Holy crap. One concept behind this is when you have a large build environment where you only want the artifacts in a minimal runtime. For example, building an Angular app, but only want the compiled app in your Nginx image. I mean, isn't that basically what we want? Okay, so entry point comes first. Mali creates default value. If you pass non-option to run, they will override value of CMD. Oh, okay. I have zero knowledge about the Rust, but if you have a separate cargo command to download it for building, that should be okay enough. The thing is, okay, let's see. The thing is, you need to copy the source code in order to build it. And if you copy the source code, it basically invalidates the later build step, right? First, only copy the dependency definition file. You still need a Rust file in it though, for it to compile. So that's basically what the other article said. To copy a dummy RS to copy a cargo tomo file. Yeah, rename it to main, build it, name it back. Oh boy. Kind of. But let's see. Let's see what happens with cargo chef. Yeah. So I have written everything. Let's see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is that it still recompiles everything on the second run, or that it's not as intuitive, but we can deal with that. And if it doesn't work, we'll just have to live with the long build times for now. I mean, another thing I might be able to do is build outside and just deploy it into the container if we don't find another solution, which obviously isn't the best thing to go about it. But there's a lot of red messages. Yeah, it's just colored red. Don't ask me why. You got the wrong color there, pal. What do you mean? Can't you make a build image? I don't know. That's the problem is I don't know. I have not enough experience with Docker to answer that. So right now I'm testing what Beamstream recommended or wanted me to test because he hasn't tested it, which is Cargo Chef. And they provide... Wait. Actually, I'm doing something stupid. Wait. Let's just use the images that should be even faster. Okay. Yeah, so basically, Cargo Chef should handle that for you. Let's see. I just copied the base thing. I copied the demo, and let's see if it works. You can create a Docker image that will be the build environment and use the image as the base for the build step in your Rust app. Does that make sense? I'm currently using a Docker image for building. That's exactly the problem we're having. Right now, well, okay, I'm using the same Docker image for building and for running in a single step. So every time I restart my Docker or rebuild my Docker container, if I've changed something, it invalidates my cache and rebuilds everything from scratch. That's the problem we're trying to solve. But let's just see what Cargo Chef does. If it works for us, that's fine. Then we can just use it. If it doesn't work, we'll find another solution. And like I said, the worst case scenario would be to build locally on my machine and deploy it to Docker for now, and later on change it to something different. I think I should do a whole Docker learning stream one day where I check all those, do the tutorial again or something like that. Or maybe I should probably just look up a few Docker things off stream, so I have at least some knowledge of what I'm doing. Okay. Good. Docker is a rabbit hole for itself. Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. Yep. It's actually called Diesel Test. Not called app. test. Let's run it again. Using cache. Okay, that already skipped a few steps. Still starts to compile though. Is there anything else? No, that should be everything. Let's see. Once this is done, we'll add a new route and rebuild the whole package and see what it does. So and if it does the whole build again, then it basically is useless. I mean, it's not useless. Probably just use it wrong, but let's see. We should just rewrite Docker to our own complete container runtime with everything. Okay, so we built it. Let's run it. Just use LXC. Hey, Sheshak. I'm gonna hydrate. Cheers. I have even less knowledge about LXC, so okay, that we'll expose 8,000, use 8,000, let's map 8,000 to 8,000. Okay, let's get a second route. That's gonna be oops, posts. Posts. Let's add both of them. Root and posts. How was your day, Shershik? Is everything fine? Did you have a nice day? Nice. Let's stop that. And rebuild. Looks like you love to ignite rocket. That's true. Oh wait, I need to rebuild first. Crap. It's kind. I do understand all the benefits of Docker, but if you're not knowing what you're doing, it's kind of confusing. So probably so it still does the rebuild stuff. I dislike Docker, it takes up so much RAM, it is so slow. I'm not disliking Docker in itself because it has its use cases, but I understand that some people don't like it. I also disagree with the notion that everything needs to be a Docker container. Sometimes I just want a binary. Okay, so that does completely rebuild again. Docker compose multi. Multi-stage? Is it multi-stage? When multi-stage build involves a single Docker file to perform multiple stages. Can build one stage or another using target syntax to build or a compose file like that. The biggest downside is the current build engine will go for every stage until it reaches the target. Build caching can mean that's only a subsecond pro. What? Yeah, especially those PHP Node.js container which uses gigabytes of file system. Yeah. Reminds me of the first version of the bookmark library I wrote as a web app. Just totally impracticable. And Docker don't even follow Open Container Initiative. The thing is, Docker is basically the de facto standard, so I should know it, but I don't. That's why I want to use it. Doesn't say I don't want to say Docker is the best tool, the best container runtime out there. But it's definitely technology I want to learn, and yeah. But if there's something, if you have alternatives to propose, you can. From doing the build within the compose file itself. Yeah, they want to set up a CI/CD server. That's bullshit. What happens if I rebuild now? Does it rebuild the whole thing? No. But every time I change my source code, it rebuilds everything. That's also bullshit. Oh. So we basically added Cargo Chef in order to get better caching, and we didn't get caching. Nice. If you split up your Docker file with cache, but you won't get any cache and validation. So basically have one Docker file for build and have another Docker file for launch. Is that what you're saying? I don't even know. Can you have multiple Docker files? Probably. Yep. I mean, that still doesn't solve the problem. The problem is that we are building. Right? So... Okay. You know what's... Wait. Wait. Let's get another route going. A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. I think I had a small realization right now. A, B, C, D. Yep, file system is full. How can I delete the Docker images? Delete Docker cache. Docker volume remove ID. What's the biggest Rust app you know? That's a very good question. Docker volume. Docker volume. What do you mean? Can you not just delete everything, please? Can I remove multiple? Okay, I can. No. Volume is in use. You sure about that? Docker volume prune. Oh. Thanks. We're still 100%. What? What? Made a downloaded images? Probably. Stopped containers, all networks not used. Sure. Be gone. I need to resize my hard drive. Probably need to reinstall for that, so... Yep. You only have 40 gigabyte. How do you live like that? That's so crowded. So basically we're gonna use that hack. Right. Let's see. Docker file. $200 in home, 250 to serve for snapshots. Oh, so you have different partitions. For me, it's basically everything on one partition. Okay, that's still here. Why is my Docker file gone? Okay, whatever. Let's take all that. Dummy areas, cargo tomo. Work deer. Whatever. That's diesel test, I think, was it? Okay, let's try that. So, Docker compose up. That should rebuild now. Right. Yeah, I basically always go with the noob route and use one partition for everything. Just because. But for this PC, for this laptop basically, that was a Windows laptop. I use it for gaming. And I basically installed Arch Linux for streaming and yeah, basically started for streaming. And now I use it for everyday work. But because I thought I wouldn't use it that much, I didn't allocate enough storage. That's basically the story. So I need to check which data I still need. And then I need to reformat everything and hope that it still works, or just delete everything after backing it up and reinstall. Okay. So that's basically the last test I'm doing. Wait, I still forgot the... Okay. Have you used LVM or plain partition? Plain partitioning. I'm not sure if LVM works so great with Windows partitions. Suppose 1000. Wait, it's source. No, it's just dummy RS. And main. That's a good point. I mean, I'm not sure. So could be that that's not actually a problem. Okay, let's do that again. What? Oh. Okay, I can do that. Let's not call it app. Let's call it diesel test. Let's call it app because why not? Docker file. That's app now. Can we rebuild? In the meantime, while that's running, I'm gonna just Twitch search, see who's online. French and Spanish. Okay. Let's see who's online in the dev space. By the way, for everyone who doesn't know, Beamstream, who's also a fellow streamer, is creating this website to actually browse other programming streams. We need a language filter though. Okay, needs love. That doesn't seem like English. Ooh, Advent of Code in Haskell. Building a Twitch Minecraft bot. That sounds interesting. Okay. Also, what's going on? Wow. Is there someone you want to raid? Is there anyone you want to... What? Why is my main file empty? Oh. Okay, so the code we've written is gone somehow. I'm not quite sure why or how, but it seems I've deleted the code. Okay, or some Docker thing deleted my code. I have no idea. No. Source main. Okay, that's still here. Let's see. Let's see if we can restore everything we had. That's PG, what? PG connection. PolyBot backend source main. Okay. That's... I think that was Diesel demo. Rocket contrib. Use diesel variable. The fairing return from fairing must... What? Why is it using custom? Okay, what was the other code? Not custom. Ignite. Ignite, attach. Okay. Let's mount. I think it's roots. What's root? Oh, and basically at the root. Okay. Docker compose again. And it's already faster than the last one. Wow. So basically the hack is way faster. This little demo doesn't exist. Yeah, that's fine. Basically diesel setup. Diesel migration run. No, it should have the diesel demo. Let's restart it once. See if the error still comes up. No. Let's go to 8000. And it still doesn't let me connect, but whatever. That's a thing for another day. Okay. Let's go back to checking out streams. So what do you want to see? Any streamer you want me to raid, or do we just pick one with a cool preview? That doesn't seem like game dev. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe he's just testing stuff. Did that just reload while I was checking stuff? Okay. Okay, no new Rust streams. To automate your social media. Is that something I want to do? Okay, that's basically Unity dev. That's also Unity dev. Let's check out Godot. I like Godot. It's a cool language. It's completely open source. do you mean be right back? Why is he gone? Why is music playing? Okay. We already checked them out. This also seems like Unity. Okay, let's take him. He basically has a face cam and does a Minecraft bot, which is pretty cool, so... Oh. Okay. So, thank you all for watching. Tomorrow is gonna be a C++ stream, because that's... I'm using a very cool website to check who I should raid. To search my username, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, thanks for watching. Tomorrow we'll do C++ probably. Yeah. Also, Beamstream, we need a language filter, and we need something where I can easily copy the name of a streamer so I can rate them. But let's discuss this on your stream. So, thank you all for watching. Have a nice evening, and I hope you enjoy the stream we're rating. Bye.